Hi everyone, welcome back. Let's talk a bit about the full moon in Gemini that we've got coming up on the 4th of December. This is a pretty juicy one, if you ask me. Gemini is very talkative, very chatty. You can feel like a very big energy, like the group chat that is on fire at midnight because we have so much to say to one another. Gemini can also feel like you're pretty busy in your local environment, like doing errands or like running to the store back and forth, being on the road more often than you're used to. That is all Gemini energy. Gemini rules over the media, over siblings, neighbors, being on the road, short distance trips, but it's particularly about communication. So I think during this full moon, we've got a lot to say towards one another. So grab your chart, grab your drink, let's make yourself comfortable because we're gonna dive into the most chatty, mentally active full moon of the entire year of 2025. So Gemini energy, it's like notifications and realizations, sudden random messages. So it's quite the revelatory full moon, if you ask me. And it's like the sudden urge to finally say the things that you've been pondering about or like thinking about for the past 3 weeks with Mercury retrograde. That's now, thank God, finally over. Like, if this video is a little bit laggy and choppy, as you've probably already noticed, I've been trying to fix that for a few weeks now, and I've just like given up, and I've ordered myself a new computer. Hopefully that is gonna solve some of the problems that I've been dealing with on a technical level. So yeah, Mercury retrograde as a Virgo rising in my 3rd house, it has been a lot. So bear with me if I'm a little bit choppy or if my face is a little bit weird and frozen. I'm like in the process of fixing all of that. So yeah, let's start with the presentation for today. And for those who don't know me yet, my name is Astrid. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in with us today. So let's look at the presentation for today. So this is, these are like the keywords for Gemini. So of course it is the storyteller. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. It is the planet of language, messages, and like connection with one another. Gemini really weaves all the ideas into words way faster than any other sign. Gemini wants facts, it wants the receipts, and they can really like translate all the experiences into meaning. And they're very capable of pulling off the threads of information together. And it also gives like this kind of voice to the things that otherwise might go unnoticed. So it isn't just creative, it's also like a way of processing reality and exchanging perspectives, and also like keeping the world mentally busy. And another keyword for Gemini is, of course, the twins. It is a sign of duality. We can be faced by like having to make some kind of a decision, and we can feel like choosing is losing. And like when we choose one thing, we lose something else. And that is also a very typical sign of Gemini. It represents duality and contrast, and also the ability to hold multiple truths at once. And that is going to be a very important key theme here, especially with all the planets in the opposing sign of Sagittarius, where they're currently traveling through. So Gemini has also like this gift for shifting viewpoints and being able to see both sides of a situation. And with all this Sag energy, a lot of people are very convicted in their beliefs and they are ready to share the truths. But like Gemini is more like, I want to have the facts and I want to see the data. And we need the data to like support our beliefs and our convictions, which is an opposite sign of Sagittarius. So yeah, being able to see both sides, and also being able to navigate between two worlds, the inner and the outer one. Like, it's about logic and intuition, but also thought and feeling. So the twins, they aren't indecisive, they're very adaptable, because this is mutable energy, and it also mirrors life back to itself. And it's also asking questions that others don't, especially the sign of Sagittarius. And then like Gemini gives the facts about those beliefs. And it also reminds us that our identity is very fluid and it's ever evolving. And we're definitely going to stumble upon some kind of information or message or some kind of new knowledge that can like totally shift our perspective or our belief system with this full moon. Gemini, of course, is also the curious one. And that is like a very, very big superpower of Gemini. It's driven by this constant curiosity and desire to learn more. And then on the opposite side, Sagittarius wants to explore more. So yeah, there's definitely a very big emphasis on these two signs, of course, with the full moon and the polarity that it always creates. So yeah, it's about learning and asking questions and connection, and also understanding how everything then fits together. So Mercury can be a little bit restless because, of course, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, but in Scorpio right now. So yeah, a lot of deep truths that have been lingering beneath the surface are definitely going to rise up during this time. So Mercury is here to observe patterns, for collecting information, and also like following sparks of inspiration wherever they lead. And especially now with it being in the sign of Scorpio, it is about like themes of death and rebirth, finances, but also sexuality and intimacy. All these themes are going to come to a head. If we then look at the chart, and maybe another thing I want to say before we dive into the chart is that Gemini is also, it's very chatty and very talkative, but be a little bit careful about gossiping during this time, because that is like a bit more of the downside. And like an unbalanced Gemini can be very superficial and can like only be like talk, and make sure that what you're saying right now with Mercury and Scorpio, that it holds, that it isn't superficial and that it holds a lot of depth, because your words are going to have tremendous amount of power, like tremendous amount of power during this time. So let's look at the chart. This is the chart for the full moon. So that is going to happen on the 4th of December. And yeah, this is really a fast and bright and mentally charged kind of energy. Gemini, it is about ideas and words and information. And when the full moon aligns here, everything that we've been thinking and suppressing, especially with Mercury and Scorpio, everything that we have been suppressing in our mind is going to like burst into awareness during this time. So expect a lot of conversations, new information, and new truths that are really going to like slip out before that you've had the time to really rehearse them in the back of your mind. Can be quite revelatory, this energy. So it happens on the 4th of December, as I already mentioned, at 13 degrees of Gemini. So if you have any planets near that degree, you're absolutely going to feel this very, very strongly. And on a collective, but also personal level, this tracks back to the Gemini new moon that we had in May of 2025. That was the 25th of May. So look at what you've implemented during this time. Now it can come to a completion or can reach some kind of culmination. So yeah, whatever was set in motion back then, maybe it was a conversation or a project, or maybe a shift in mindset, or maybe you've started a course or a study, or maybe you do something in media or podcasting, blogging, social media. The media in general is ruled by Gemini and Mercury. So yeah, now it's going to like reach its peak expression, whatever you started back then. So yeah, also this moon, it doesn't just bring like chatter for the sake of noise. It brings a lot of movement, and some new kind of revelation can really like prompt us into like taking action, because it's the 13th degree, which is an Aries degree, and in order for us to like move forward, new and especially with the moon squaring the nodes here, which I'm gonna talk later about. But stay very curious, like open your ears, open your eyes, open your mind with all the energy and such, and try not to feel too overwhelmed, because this can be very, very busy, electrifying energy. We need to stay present, that we don't feel scattered. So yeah, this is really a moment of mental illumination, and it's here to actually guide you forward. The most affected signs are, of course, Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising, especially if you have planets between, let's say, 12, 15, 16 degrees. Something big is reaching its culmination here for you, my dear Geminis. And, of course, the other mutable signs, which are, of course, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces. If you have planets around the middle degrees of your sign, then you're going to be activated through a lot of tension. And that can lead to like some kind of big revelation, can really lead to a major turning point. But just know, mutable signs, they are like the masters of adaptation. They are mutable, they are flexible. So yeah, it's going to push you a little bit out of your comfort zone, but it's in order for you to be able to grow. And yeah, honestly, everyone who has planets or angles in the mutable signs is really going to receive this cosmic push and a nudge towards like more truth and clarity and like some kind of realignment. The fact that this full moon squares the nodes can indicate some growing pains for sure. So the moon is at 13 degrees, which is of course an Aries degree. So there's like this extra layer of like boldness and impulsivity and also like raw honesty that are getting baked into this full moon. So yeah, Gemini is of course very airy, talkative, and very curious, and the degree really adds some kind of surprising, impulsive, fiery energy underneath it. So think about like someone says something to you and you need to take immediate action, or like there can also be this instinctual decisions that is like really sparked by your intense drive and motivation, and there's like an urge to also speak before you think. So keep that in mind as well. When there's a full moon that is linked to an Aries degree, there's often this feeling of like, I can't hold this in anymore, or you can receive some kind of message that can be in regards to your health or your job or your relationship on which you need to act very fast. So very fast pace, impulsive kind of energy that is getting implicated here in the chart. So everything that needs like forward motion is now like getting pushed out into the open, and Aries doesn't wait, Aries doesn't hesitate, and Aries definitely doesn't sugarcoat. So there's really this raw, unfiltered quality to what comes up during this full moon. And yeah, the fiery energy gets implemented with the airy energy of Gemini. So yeah, there's a bit of feistiness that gets injected into our thoughts and words and decisions. And that can definitely cause some restlessness mentally. The positive part is that Gemini is really, really funny. Like, I know a lot of Geminis who are cracking jokes like no other. And I think we're going to see this big theme arising. Like, in Dutch, we say like, "Al lachen zegt de zotte waarheid." So if we talk or if we make jokes and talk in a funny kind of way, underneath that, there's a lot of truth. So really keep your eyes and ears open to someone who's like cracking a joke and like silently underneath all of that, there's like very big truth in that joke. And that can give you really clues about someone's mental state or like someone's state of how they're feeling inside, and that is also going to be very, very noticeable. The energy here, it is quick, it is sharp, it is honest, and if you lean into it, you're going to find it easier to move forward instead of like keeping mentally looping all of the time. Do not try to overthink or overanalyze, because with the squares to the north and the south node, we are really like, we need to like move forward, and we need to get unstuck from the past. But I'm going to go deeper into that. First, we're going to look at the Sabian symbol for today, because this one is so cool. I like this one a lot. It's a conversation by telepathy. So it speaks to like this mind-to-mind connection. It's about intuitive downloads. And Mercury, the ruler of the full moon, which is in Scorpio, is part of a grand water trine towards Saturn, Neptune, and also Jupiter. So it's about like intuitive downloads and unspoken truths, and like also receiving information through your inner voice and also other divine channels, definitely with the grand water trine here. So It's about like connection beyond the distance. And Gemini rules messages which are like traveling Sag, where the sun is, but like without physical effort. Physical effort is Aries. So the insights that appear here can like come out of nowhere. And I think we might get some surprising news about quantum technology as well, and how that operates or works, and like also how the matrix works, and like how it's like possible when you think about someone you haven't seen for such a long time, suddenly they pop up around the corner. Gemini is your local environment, so a lot of business, a lot of people from the past also returning. Still, Mercury is in its shadow phase until the 15th of December, so all these themes are definitely still highlighted a lot. So yeah, this is definitely about mental attunement, and yeah, it really highlights and even strengthens Gemini's mental and communicative powers, but also on the level of your inner voice that is going to be speaking very, very loud to you. So if you're already a little bit psychic, you can definitely feel like you're thinking inside of your head, and you're thinking about a question, and you can just like hear someone having a conversation on the other side of the room, and it's like those two people who are talking towards each other are like answering the question inside of your mind. And I think that is so cool. So look for synchronicities, look for questions being asked very randomly in a very psychic, intuitive, telepathic kind of way. Yeah, it's yeah, the communication here is going to leap across space and across logic, and it's also goes straight into our intuition. It's the kind of knowing here with the Sabian symbol that doesn't come only from research and facts, which is symbolized by Mercury and Gemini, but it also comes from a lot of resonance, with Mercury being part of the Grand Water Trine. So really pay attention to what people are saying, even if they're not like actually saying it. It will be way easier to like pierce through someone's mind right now, and truths are gonna travel like faster than words right now. So this is where things are getting really, really interesting. It's very intuitive, very instantaneous as well. And also, yeah, messages don't just come from speech, they come through energy, and that is really highlighted here. So yeah, we can definitely feel like we're plugged into other people's thoughts and really sensing what they're thinking before they even speak, especially with Mercury in Scorpio. I really like this moon a lot, actually. So yeah, the truth exists before it's spoken. And like everyone has their belief system and everybody has their own truth, but there's only one real truth, and that is going to prevail during this time. I'm saying it like the headlines in the media can get a little bit crazy during this time, especially with Saturn and Neptune stationing direct at the final degrees of Pisces. I think we're going to see some things being released in the news that can drive people a little bit mentally insane, if I'm going to be honest. So yeah, let's look at the ruler, because the ruler is, of course, Mercury, and it's in the sign of Scorpio. It has been going retrograde for the past few weeks. Thank God that's direct, but it's building up towards the last and actually the final and third opposition with Uranus. So Mercury in Scorpio, that alone like tells us that beneath all the chatter and all the information and like all the overload and all the mental stimulation, there's a deeper truth brewing beneath the surface. Communication is going to become more intense, more investigative, more psychological, and sometimes a little bit uncomfortable. So let's look back at the past 3 weeks, what we've been noticing with Mercury in Scorpio. We saw a lot of truths rising to the surface in regards to the Epstein files, also scandals and banking, because Scorpio, of course, rules the financial area, big money, really like how the 1% who has like all the power, how they actually spend their money and on what and what for. And like, if you follow the money trail, it always goes back to the same couple of companies. Not really allowed to talk about that here on YouTube. Lately, I really need to be careful with how I'm wording things, but definitely Scorpio rules over sexual energy and also financial energy. So we can definitely see some more surprises that are going to be brewing up to the surface. But here on a personal level, you have this kind of X-ray vision right now. That is like added to your thinking. You can more easily read between the lines. You can really sense hidden motives of other people. And you're also going to clearly notice what people aren't saying. And it's going to be like just as clear at what they are saying. So truths will surface, secrets are going to unravel, and conversations could get really raw and revealing. And I've checked Candace Owens, her chart, like and the last new moon in Scorpio, I've predicted that she would have been hit, but luckily that didn't actually happen. But she's got proof that they ordered a hit on her. This full moon in Gemini is exactly conjunct her Jupiter. It's off by 2-3 degrees, more or less. But it's on her Jupiter, and Jupiter in Gemini is about like talking a lot and exposing a lot and having like this higher wisdom and being able to zoom out and look at the bigger picture in regards of information. So I really think that is going to be another big release of new information from her that we can really expect during this time. And of course, with Mercury in Scorpio here on a more general level, it is the therapist, it is the detective, it is the shadow worker, which is all very, very applicable for Candace as well, if you ask me. So this energy is really, really highlighted. Think about whistleblowers, whistleblowers saving each other, or enlightening the collective. And that is also going to be a very big theme, as we've already seen with the Mercury retrograde over the past few weeks. So yeah, it's actually helping us to transform our old thinking patterns and really uncover all these buried information. We can finally speak something that needed to be said a long time ago. So yeah, very big mental alchemy kind of vibe here. And because it's part of Grand Water Trine, Mercury is trine Saturn, and Saturn and Mercury together in a flowing trine. It's about like speaking up and really saying like, this is my boundary. It's like about speaking up about your boundaries. Crossing a line is not going to be, how do you say it? It's not going to be, whenever it will be easier to just like say like here and no further. So and otherwise the stinger is going to come out, definitely. So if you're already very intuitive, then this can really increase your ability to channel messages and receiving spiritual downloads, especially with the Sabian symbol and the telepathy going on as well. So as I've already mentioned, Mercury is going to make its last opposition to Uranus, and this is like telepathy in overdrive. It can be like the field here can like turn into some kind of psychic Wi-Fi, and that is like so cool. It is very like intuitive, lightning strikes of awareness and information coming forth, and that's gonna like run straight through your nervous system with the opposition to Uranus. So we can see some bizarre things, bizarre news, and also insights that then, even if the insights are a little bit bizarre, they will start to make perfect sense. And it's like a missing piece of the puzzle that is going to be brought forward right now with this energy. So yeah, also the telepathic Sabian symbol perfectly mirrors this. It's like communication that is going to bypass the usual channels. So it will be very, very interesting to look at what's going to happen. If we then look at the Grand Cross, like in traditional astrology, I know for the real astrologers who are watching, I know you cannot say Grand Cross with the nodes because the nodes are not planets. But for the sake of this video, I'm just calling it the Grand Cross because they are all perfectly squaring one another. The full moon is 13 degrees and the nodes are also 13 degrees exact. And this is important because we're in between, we're at the midpoint between two eclipses. So this energy has some very fated eclipse energy baked into the chart here, and it's definitely going to be some kind of preview of what's about to happen during the eclipse in Aquarius that we're going to see on the 19th of February. And that is going to be a very big and loud one, because an eclipse in Aquarius in itself is already very shattering, like very illuminating, very shocking and surprising. But the fact that it squares Uranus, its ruler, is like adding such a big level of surprise on top of that. Uranus and like Uranus are always surprises out of the blue, but they are actually here to set you free, even though it can feel a little bit intense and overwhelming and like your nervous system is going to explode. But another important factor why this is going to be such a chaotic eclipse is because Mars will be co-present in the sign of Aquarius as well. But more on that later. But definitely this will be a precursor of what's to come in February of 2026. We're going to see very, very big build-up happening already now with all the planets in Sag. Then they're going to make a triple conjunction in Capricorn. And then after that, we're going to have 5 planets in Aquarius during the eclipse. But I still need to look deeper into that chart, because on the eclipse happens on the 19th, and by that already some planets will be in Pisces by then. So I just need to look more deeply into that chart. But definitely the next 3 months are going to be very, very striking, with all of the stelliums that are building up towards the new year. So if we have a perfect square to the North Node, it's not gentle. It is a very big crossroad moment, really applying a lot of pressure so that you can grow, that you can integrate, and that you can move forward, and definitely that you can detach from the past. The South Node is in the sign of Virgo. It is about releasing hypercriticism, being too tough on ourselves. It's also about your physical health and well-being. On the opposite side, we have Pisces. The North Node is there. That is about connection, oneness, really integrating spirituality, learning more about that. And really, we all need to be more compassionate and share more empathy for one another. So the fact that the full moon and also, of course, the sun at the opposite sign are making these perfect squares, we must release perfectionism and micromanaging. We also need to be a little bit more careful about obsessive overthinking with Mercury in Scorpio, and the fact that the full moon squares the South Node in Virgo. We need to release the fear of the unknown. The North Node in Pisces really calls us towards trust and surrender and tap into our intuition and emotional flow. So yeah, let go of like your set plan and like I always say, like, and that is like, I think my whole Pisces stellium and other things as, on top of that as well, but like no plan is the best plan. And sometimes people really hate me for it. They sometimes ask me, Astrid, what is your 5-year plan? And I'm like, a 5-year plan? I don't even know what I'm going to eat tomorrow. Like a 5-year plan. That is like, to me, honestly, such a perfect setup for disaster. Because if you really like, okay, you need to install some goals that you want to work towards, of course, but I don't even have like a month ahead plan, to be honest. I'm just like, so go with the flow, just see what the universe drops in my lap, and like, maybe I'm a little bit difficult in planning everything, and like I'm like highlighting this a little bit extra, my own personal story, because I am a Virgo rising and I have a Pisces stellium. So the fact that the South and the North Node is in that type of energy, that's why I'm like highlighting this a little bit. But just know here with the Grand Cross, it can feel a little bit intense. Mutable crosses really forces us to pivot and to be flexible and to be adapt. It's like a butterfly popping like out of its cocoon, or how do you say it? And it's really like about, making some kind of transition or like muting into something else. And that is gonna be like unquestionable of like, you will not be able to fight the energy. This is here really to make sure that you just step onto the next leg of the of your journey and maybe leave something from the past behind. It will be able to, you will be finally able to maybe detach yourself from things from the past that are not really helpful anymore. So yeah, you're actually being pushed into the future, and for a lot of people that can feel a little bit uncomfortable, and definitely with some surprising revelations or shocking news, but definitely just remember that that is for your own best good. The universe is always taking care of you. Like, life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. And whenever you make the mindset switch with all the planets now in Sagittarius, it will be more easier to handle and deal with all of this energy. Because of course, we've been feeling the fact that Saturn has been going direct. It's still not really moving. Mercury is not really moving. They're very, very slow. They're only starting to build up a lot of speed. The fact is also that Saturn and Mars are building up towards their square. That can feel like a moment of pausing, needing to hit the brakes. A forced moment of pausing, and that can feel quite frustrating for a lot of people. For example, maybe you want to go traveling, but you need to work, something like that. Like, you want to have freedom with all the Sag planets, but Saturn and Pisces is like, you first need to handle this, that, and that, because it's like wrapping up a very long cycle now at the end degrees of Pisces. So I probably shouldn't be talking too much on a big screen with my camera, otherwise it's going to be very, very choppy here. So I'm going to move it back to this. So yeah, Mars square Sag, Mars in Sag squaring Saturn and Pisces. We want to go, but we need to slow down. And with all the Mercury retrograde energy, it can feel a little bit tiring and draining for some people. Mars wants a lot of movement and freedom and action and truth. And Saturn and Pisces, like, they're throwing a lot of fog and delays and emotional resistance. So there can be a little bit of frustration and also like blocked momentum. You can feel like a sense of hitting like these invisible walls. Just know that it's part of this lunation here. So I think the most important things to mention is, of course, we're going to see a lot of exposure in the media. We're going to see on a personal level a lot of mental breakthroughs, and yeah, collectively still travel delays, technical hiccups, headlines in regards to banking and bankers and the ones who are in power and how they are manipulating us with money, the liquidity problems in banking right now and how that's going to create a lot of mess in 2026. I even wrote, I've wrote an article. I have read an article about all the banks having liquidity problems here, like all over the world, but it's like specifically I'm talking about Belgium, and that by next year, April, they will probably not be able to pay all of the government workers, all the people who work for the government. There will be thousands of people that they will not be able to pay anymore. So yeah, this is going to cause a lot of drama next year for sure. And the fact is, like, April, then we have the big stellium in Aries, which is about conflict and people that are being very pissed off. So yeah, this is like a weird connection that I've noticed. But for this lunation, just know that your words matter more than ever right now. Use them wisely. Do not gossip. Do not tap into that energy, because with the Mars square Saturn, that can really like cause some backlash for sure. And also, maybe important for some of you people, but if you have inflammatory issues with your joints, with your bowels, with something else that gets infected easily, Mars square Saturn can definitely cause some kind of temporarily big flare-up in those issues. So take extra care of yourself and your body. Mars rules over inflammatory. Saturn is your back, your joints, your teeth as well. But also just keep in mind, like, if you have been dealing with inflammatory issues, that you need to take a little extra care for yourself right now. So now that I'm talking about the medical level, Gemini, of course, rules over shoulders, arms, your hands, your respiratory system, so your lungs, but also your nervous system. It's like the nervous connections for like your sensor and motor skills are also ruled by Gemini. So yeah, check in with your nervous system and not only with your inbox and your notifications. You're gonna be overstimulated otherwise, and yeah, you will need to take some extra time to unwind. So let's look at Trump's chart, because that is pretty interesting. We can see all the planets in Sag at the bottom of his chart are ready to like, there's like an increase in energy, and it's going to go over his eclipse. He's born on he's born natally with an eclipse. A lunar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius. So the Sagittarius stellium is going to move over that eclipse. Mars is currently on top of his moon and his eclipses, his natal eclipse as well. That's why he has been battling with women, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, if I'm saying that name correctly, but I think Marjorie. So that is the reason why that has been happening as well, but more planets are making its way over his natal eclipse, so he's going to definitely be a lot and very big in the picture this month, because of course Trump is a Gemini, so this full moon is on top of his Uranus. If you're born with like Uranus on top of the sun, you're like the chaos agent, and he's just like here doing or like playing his role in the Matrix. But definitely a full moon in the 10th, it is in his house of it is being very publicly seen. So he's going to announce or say something very shocking and surprising, or he's going to announce some kind of thing that is going to be very, very mind-blowing yet again. But what's new, right? Also take notice that Uranus is squaring his Mars and his ascendant as well. So yeah, the shocker cooker is definitely building and intensifying for sure. And if we then look at the US, actually the full moon is on top of the descendant, which is about open enemies and also your allies. So very, very intensely activated the chart here for the US. So definitely more chaos. Uranus is going to come off of the 29 degree at 28 degrees, and it's going to square the 27 degrees. Moon for the US as well here. The moon is in Aquarius. The ruler of Aquarius, Uranus, is going to make another square towards that. So definitely more riots, more protests, more people who are fed up with the system. And with Mars here going over the rising and into the first house, it's very, very war activated kind of energy as well. So they want to assert themselves, and that can cause a lot of backlash with enemies and open enemies and allies with the moon conjunct Uranus and the descendant. So yeah, we see for Trump. So the moon is on Uranus here for Trump, and then here we see the moon on very closely by Uranus for the US. So a lot of shocks and surprises for the States for sure. And if we then look at the next one, and I cannot pronounce his name, but I think you guys all know who I'm talking about. This dude from the Middle East. This is very special to me because this is the exact same rising and descendant as the US. Is that why they get along so well? I think so. I'm not going to say too much about it. The things I said for the US also implicate for this particular person. So another thing I've noticed is that the South Node goes over Saturn. So a lot of karmic issues from the past are getting back up and are going to hunt him and bite him in the ass. And if you look at the bottom of the chart at the EC, we see Saturn on top of that. So yeah, something is going to get restricted for him in the deepest, lowest, most sensitive parts of himself. Yeah. More on that later, and maybe I should post more on Rumble where I can speak a little bit more freely. But with that being said, we're going to look at the rituals for this full moon. So because Gemini rules the lungs, Breathing exercises is of major importance, especially if you feel mentally overwhelmed, overstimulated, if you feel a little bit anxious, if your mind is racing too much, just breathe. The best thing for me that works is like box breathing, like breathe in for 4 to 6 seconds, hold your breath for 2 seconds, then blow out, or like exhale for 8 seconds or longer, then hold it again and repeat that a few times. If you like really go full in on that, that is like very nice. Like the feeling you get afterwards, it's like better than any type of drugs or like sexual energy. It's like when you really go deep into the breath and you can really like, yeah, fully surrender to that. You can feel your hands are like maybe a little bit cramping, and you can feel like a whole shift of energy happening inside of your system. But a lot of people get a little bit scared of what the breath really holds, because it holds so much power. But definitely something that I'm a very big fan of, for like, it's like, yeah, you can like trip without any substances, and that is very important, because substance abuse right now with Saturn and Neptune at the end of Pisces, I would strongly recommend you not to drink any alcohol, not to smoke, not to do any type of drugs, because we can all feel on a collective level that we're like all in some kind of trip together with all these nth degrees of Pisces and the Sag stellium that is going to square that. So yeah, do not get stuck into a bad collective trip. Really detach yourself from that energy. Then another thing is, of course, yeah, write a big release ritual and burn it with the Aries energy. Fire release right now is also very, very strongly beneficial. Digital declutter ritual, just do social media detox, and of course, have some movement to get out of your head, because Mercury rules the mind, and we can all get a little bit stuck, and we need to move through these stuck thoughts in our minds. So yeah, release through expression. It's important to express the energy. If you then look at the crystals for today, pearl is actually the traditional birthstone of Gemini. It fits the vibe perfectly. Pearls also bring like emotional softness and calm and intuitive grounding. Also know that like pearls, they grow inside like a shell through all these layers of protection, and that is maybe exactly what is going to help with this mentally scattered energy. We need to like create emotional boundaries while still staying open to a connection. So yeah, the shell of a pearl, it can like open and close, and that is maybe something to keep in mind of, that you know when to yeah, just like shut off your brain a little bit, and do not over talk, like I'm doing right now. I'm already 42 minutes into this video, and I'm always trying to keep it so short, but like over talking, it is like one of my shadow traits. So oversharing, yeah, when I was young I had such a big wound of oversharing. Oh my god, that is so funny to think back on. And now I'm like not telling anyone a thing anymore. So yeah, I need to balance that out. All right, the next crystal is like Moonstone. Moonstone really strengthens your dream work and your intuition, which is perfect for the ruler of Gemini, Mercury, now in Scorpio. And it enhances empathy and also telepathy. And then we also have Alexandrite, and that is also very helpful for transformation and also for mental flexibility and adaptability. So yeah, with that being said, we're going to look at the 12 signs. So if you want to know more about the full moon in Gemini, I've also talked a lot about that in my December forecasts. Now I'm going to focus a little bit more on the ruler. So First, listen for your rising sign. You can also listen for your sun sign, of course. And if you have a moon in Gemini, you can definitely also listen for your moon sign. So we're going to start with Aries, sun, moon, or rising. You're going to have a full moon in Gemini that is going to light up your third house. So the third is, of course, about communication, about learning, studying, taking courses, short distance trips. It's also about siblings and neighbors and people that you bump into in your local environment. So while doing errands or short trips, and this is actually a culmination moment around how you speak, because it's also the house of communication, and it's also the house of how the mind works in a day-to-day environment. So yeah, this is like, think back to 6 months ago. Did you start a new course, a new study? Did you started podcasting or writing more on social media? That is now going to reach culmination. We can definitely see more activity in your inbox with phones, messaging, running, like going back and forth, buying new technological devices as well. The road is also being highlighted. So you are definitely one of the signs that is going to be way more on the road, doing trips with your car. Also, maybe time to buy a new car. That can also be one of the implications of this full moon. But yeah, your DMs are definitely going to pop up, and certain conversations are definitely going to take center stage in your life during this time. The ruler of this full moon is Mercury, and it's in your 8th house. It's about shared finances, debts, loans, taxes, inheritances, intimacy, also psychological healing, and secrets that can pop up. So definitely a neighbor, a sibling, someone you bump into while doing errands can actually spill the tea to you. So yeah, be mindful about that. There can also definitely be breakthroughs and communications happening in regards to shared finances, maybe something having to do with your taxes as well. But definitely conversations that can, or decisions being made in regards to your finances with Mercury in the 8th. You can also be the one that's going to reveal some secrets to to someone else. You might like finally say something also in therapy that you've been avoiding, because the 8th house rules therapy and deep psychological conversations that are going to pop up, and your voice is really going to become a tool for transformation. Don't be surprised if someone in your close circle really reveals or brings some kind of new piece of information that can feel a little bit heavy and deeply personal, but it's actually going to be very, very important. Or on the other hand, you are going to decide to open up about something that you've kept quiet before. Could also look like loan approval, refinancing, tax paperwork, merging finances together with another person, or maybe renegotiating something in your shared resources. So yeah, this can definitely bring a very raw emotional confession from someone, from a friendship, from a situationship, from something. Yeah, that's something that has been brewing beneath the surface. Mercury in the 8th can also make your words very magnetic. Also remember that there's Grand Mutable Cross, and it's lighting up your 3rd, your 6th, your 9th, and 12th house. It's actually about your mind versus your beliefs, and something big is going to shift in that. Something it can also having to do with meditating, with the North Node in the 12th. While you're meditating, you can break through some beliefs, and you can let go of stress in your day-to-day life with the South Node in the 6th. It can just like when you rest and retreat and really dive into meditation and connect with the spiritual realm, some daily stress can be released by shifting your mindset and speaking up for yourself in ways that you maybe hadn't dared to do before. So good luck, my dear Aries. We have Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You are having the full moon in Gemini lighting up your 2nd house of finances. So very, very financial full moon for you, my dear Taurus. This very big money moon connected to abundance. And of course, for you, my dear Taurus, that is very, very important. It's about your income, your possessions, your spending habits, and it's also about your sense of self-worth. So whatever you've been earning or building or maybe saving since the new moon in May of 2025 is now going to reach some kind of peak moment. So you're gonna see the results of your efforts, but definitely it's highlighting like your resources versus another people's resources, and the shared resources with another person. So could also be collected to loans and debts and investments. Maybe news from inheritance, definitely financial, energetic entanglements with other people is coming up as well. The ruler of this full moon is Mercury, and it's sitting in your seventh house of relationships. So that's why definitely shared resources in partnerships and definitely in marriage is going to come up quite strongly. Maybe you're going to earn more, and in that way you can share more with your partner, and you can have an important conversation, or maybe business alliance that can point to a new source of income. But yeah, money and partnerships are very, very deeply intertwined with one another right now. There can also be a lot of discussions about shared bills or fairness and equal give and take in your relationships, but definitely also can highlight toxic or power dynamics in regards to money with your partner. So if there's been a little bit tension or things brewing beneath the surface, yeah, it can also be about like finally being able to speak up about that. There can also be confusion and also even confessions about your partner about the shared resources. So if there's been some truth in that area that's been avoided, now the conversation come up in regards to that. It can also be about sexuality between you and another person. So yeah, it's very possible someone can admit something that they've been hiding. Maybe that can be a financial misstep, can be a sexual misstep, even. Can also be about unspoken desires or needs that are not being met. Suddenly, all of this is gonna like be illuminated. So on the positive side, there's also a moment when you can receive a new income stream, or you can receive money from a partner. Maybe you're going to receive some kind of a raise, new clients that come in, or some things from the side that suddenly start to make more money to you. So when you value yourself, the universe is going to reflect that back to you. So it all depends on your self-worth, how this full moon is going to play out for you, and also depending on which aspects it's make to your natal planets as well. But just know Mercury is in Scorpio, and there's this deeper psychological undercurrent in your relationships right now. It's about trust, intimacy, and definitely about emotional raw honesty. So yeah, it's going to help you to see where you stand with someone, and how you value yourself versus how they value you, and if that's imbalanced, and maybe something needs to be corrected about that. But I think definitely good news from a partner, because Mercury is in Grand Water Trine, so that is definitely very, very possible. And I think you guys are going to have a lovely surprise, or maybe some financial concerns that can actually even strengthen your bond together. So that is actually quite positive with the Grand Water Trine here and Mercury in your seventh. So good luck, my dear Taurus. We have Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You are the stars of today's show, my dear Gemini. How are you feeling with the full moon in your sign? So yeah, this is your moment. It's about your first house, or about your sun or your moon. It's all about your identity, your body, your self-image, and also how people are perceiving you, or how you show up in the world. That is like your rising sign. So yeah, a very big moment of checking in with yourself. Think back to what happened 6 months ago, whatever you've implemented in your life. Maybe it's in your job, in your relationship, in your health. Something is going to reach some kind of culmination. So Yeah, it's about who you're becoming and how much you've grown since the last 6 months. Your ruler, Mercury, is in the sixth house. So this is about your daily life, your health, your work transformations, your pets, also your daily rhythm, your schedule, your co-workers. So yeah, the full moon puts a spotlight on you, but Mercury is really showing you how your daily life is shaping your identity, because it's in the first, and maybe you are ready to change job, maybe you want to change up your schedule, maybe you want to start a new health routine, or maybe you've all started that 6 months ago and now something completes in that. So Mercury in Scorpio in the sixth is going to push you to look at the deeper truth behind why certain schedules or jobs or habits work for you on a daily basis. And it's also going to be very, very noticeable why others drain you right now. And you need to maybe something needs to get released in that. Of course, there are a lot of planets moving through your seventh house right now of relationships. You can get a little bit extra emotional. That's always the case during a full moon, but now definitely in regards to other people, with Venus and Mars and Mercury about to join the party in Sag as well for the next month. And definitely with Mars in the seventh, you get way more easily triggered by other people and definitely by your partner. There can be some frustration happening in that seventh house area, but now Venus is there as well, and she's going to soften the blow a little bit from the past few weeks. And once Mercury enters the seventh, you're going to be way more able to really talk things through with your partner, and you're going to have new, like after the frustration dissolves a little bit, Mercury is going to enter the seventh, and then you can have like clearer conversations about your shared visions for the future together as a couple. If you are single, definitely a lot of energy in the seventh. If you meet someone new, really pay attention, because that will be a very, very good match for you right now with Venus in the seventh as well. So yeah. Also know with Mercury in the sixth, maybe some health problems that are lingering were brought up during the Mercury retrograde, and now some kind of diagnosis or some kind of treatment of some kind of good news can really flow from the Grand Water Trine in regards to your health area. And this can also be a very good new beginning to have like a total shift in lifestyle, and also how you treat your health and what habits you sustain during this time. So let me know how this goes for you, my dear Gemini, and I wish you the best of luck. We have Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. What's up, my dear Cancer? You have a full moon in the sign of Gemini that's going to eliminate your 12th house. The 12th is, of course, a very hidden place in the chart. It's a very mystical house. It's the house of the unseen realms, divination, the spirit, your spirit guides, healing, resting, retreating, meditating. All of that falls into the 12th. So this is a more subtle full moon for you. It can like manifest in your dreams and in your subconscious. It's about something that's completed in your spiritual practices. Maybe you need to rest a little bit more. Maybe you want to put a big focus or emphasis on healing. And you can do that better when you're in solitude. But you're definitely having to take more time to process everything behind the scenes. And yeah, you're going to crave more quietness. So yeah, something that started 6 months ago in regards to this area in your chart is now ready for a release or a closure. Mercury, which is the ruler of this full moon, is actually traveling through your fifth house now in Scorpio. So the fifth is about creativity, romance, children, joy, self-expression. It tells us actually that whatever is coming up in the 12th in your subconscious or in your dreams is deeply tied to whatever makes your heart sing in the fifth. So this can be like desires from the past that even pop up back again, definitely while the Mercury retrograde was happening. Maybe you're a little bit melancholic, can be about past feelings, about love, about relationship, situationship. Maybe you're letting go of past heartbreak. And yeah, this is actually very potent for tapping into the spiritual realm and having inspiration, letting it flow through you in order that is then like going to stimulate your creativity in the fifth as well. And this can also be like very, very deeply psychic if you're already very in tune and very, very emotionally attuned to other people, which is definitely the case if you're a Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Your intuition is gonna get very, very heightened right now. The fifth is also about fertility and babies and pregnancies. So maybe if you've had a miscarriage in the past, or maybe abortion or anything that is quite deep or taboo or hurtful or traumatic that happened in the fifth in the back in the day in your life, something now can also be released from the subconscious. The 12th is also about forgiving. And also forgiving yourself, and yeah, these themes can definitely also come back up with Mercury about to make a conjunction with Black Moon Lilith in the fifth, because Black Moon Lilith can be about the parts where we are a little bit ashamed of ourselves and the things that we like to keep repressed, or the things that we do not like other people to know. And some kind of big release can really happen in that as well. Maybe you're gonna feel called to maybe talk about it, but my advice for you would be like talk to it with like your spirit helpers and with your ancestors, and just like put all of your worries on a golden platter and just like hand it over to the universe, and let it dissolve all of your pain and sorrow if something like that pops up, which I think is definitely a possibility with the current planetary positions. So yeah, the biggest theme for you, my dear Cancer, is letting go of something that's been draining you, a fear, maybe an illusion about love, maybe insecurities about your creativity as well, with Mercury in the fifth, and really, yeah, turn your pain into power. And also, yeah, if something happens in regards to a situationship, maybe now you're gonna be like, this is a time to let it go, so a more healthier bond can be brought onto your path. Reclaim your heart, do the things that make your heart sing, do it alone, do it in, yeah, because the 12th is like about solitude. You can actually feel pretty happy when you're alone with yourself, and making peace with yourself and with the past. So good luck, my dear Cancer. We have Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're gonna have a full moon in the sign of Gemini happening on December the 4th in your 11th house. So the 11th is, of course, about friends, communities, groups, your goals, your social sphere, your networks. And also, yeah, this is a very chatty full moon, and the fact that it happens in the 11th is a very sociable energy that gets injected in the chart here. Think back to May of 2025. Did someone new enter your life during this time? That can be highlighted right now. Maybe any long-term dreams that reach some kind of peak moment. It can also be in regards to collaborations in communities. That can also be about your online presence. The 11th is about going viral on social media as well, because there's like a bomb of energy in that right now. And of course, all the planets in Sag are in your traditional fifth Leo house. So they're trining all the Leo placements, all the planets in Sag right now. So that is actually very, very positive. Like, about how you express yourself. If you like express yourself unapologetically right now, that can like mean success in your online virtual world, but also in your friend group as well. So yeah, if you get invitations, go and attend the gatherings, reconnect with people, and also it's going to become very, very obvious which friends that have your back during this time. Yeah, take some time to reflect on who your friends are. Um, Then Mercury is, of course, the ruler of this full moon, and it's happening, or it's traveling through your fourth house that is connected to home, family, roots, ancestry, emotions as well. So, yeah, your social network is going to become very, very loud and busy and activated here. But maybe some of you might feel a little bit overwhelmed and want to really cocoon at home under your blanket. Something very active might be happening at home, even. Maybe you're going to invite a lot of friends over at home. That's also a possibility. A lot of family discussions. Maybe you're moving your furniture or your stuff around at home. And also, yeah, it can be about renovations, and your friends are coming over to help you move or paint or redecorate. There can even be, if you live together with a friend, they can move in or move out, something like that as well. Or some of you might also be having to move suddenly to another place. That is also a possibility here with Mercury, and definitely the retrograde. I think a lot of Leos have been pondering upon that for the last 3-4 weeks, but definitely good energy for hosting gatherings. But definitely keep in mind that there can be some revelations or truths getting spilled from inside the home, or maybe your friends come over at home and they give you some hidden piece of information. Even your mother can give you some secrets about past family relationships. That is also a possibility during this time. So yeah, really take time to visit your mother and go talk to her and reconnect with her if you haven't seen her for a while. This is actually a very good time right now. So yeah, definitely a long-term goal that involves your home or family can also come full circle during this time. So enjoy that familiar energy, my dear Leo, and I wish you good luck. We have Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're gonna have a full moon in your 10th house, and this is a pretty important one because you are ruled by Mercury, and this full moon is also ruled by Mercury. So big emphasis on you guys, and whatever happens in the 10th is very publicly visible because the 10th is about your career, your reputation, your status, and also your long-term goals. And yeah, this is a very important moon in regards to your profession. You can become very visible, you can go viral. If you've been building towards something since May, during the new moon in Gemini, things are now going to reach some kind of culmination. That can be a shift in your job, or maybe you decide to leave your job. Maybe you get fired with Uranus going back and forth over your MC. That's definitely a possibility. Just know if that happens, that you're actually being set free by the universe. And even though it can be a little bit shocking and surprising, this is actually going to be a very big gift for you. So if you have planets or angles, especially in the middle of the sign, around 13 degrees, you're gonna feel this immensely. And also, Virgo, be a little bit careful about your health if you do have a Virgo rising around the middle degrees of that sign, because the moon in the 10th is squaring you. And like, it's actually in a Grand Cross towards the nodes, which are the North node is in your 7th and the South node is in your 1st. Definitely also an emphasis on health here, so take extra care. Maybe some of you are going to need to leave a job because you need to work on your health because it squares the rising, but it's also only for like the people who have like the middle degrees rising. But definitely with all the planets at home and the 4th house as well, there's like, yeah, all the angular houses are affected. Your identity, your stability and foundation at home, your partnerships, and your career. So whenever such a big thing happens, there's a very big possibility that like your entire life can shift. And this is a moon that is very special because it's at the midpoint between two eclipses, which has a very faded energy, and with the grand water trine affecting your social houses as well. I can feel like as a Virgo rising that there's like a higher power overtaking everything right now, and it's like guiding and leading me. And even though not everything goes as planned and not everything is going as I've been wanting, it's still like taking care of me, and it's like showing me the way forward, even though things happen faster than I anticipated. But actually, yeah, they're shaking me loose from the comfort zone, and they're actually really nudging me towards like a new career and a whole new start professionally that is about to emerge as well. So yeah, take good use of this energy, because this is a rare energy, and whatever happens now is like some kind of omen or foreshadowing events that are going to happen during February, when we're going to have the eclipse in Aquarius. And for us, like for the fellow Virgo risings, that's going to happen in the 6th house of work. So yeah, definitely connected. So pay good attention. And if you are fed up with your job, just like, yeah, take a break. Maybe some of you are going to finally decide to start working for themselves. And that can come into full fruition by February of next year. So if that's been brewing beneath the surface, definitely with Mercury in the 3rd house, that is about signing contracts and writing and speaking and publishing and meetings and negotiations and paperwork and emails and all of that. Maybe some of you are going to take a course for your new job or for your current job. Maybe you get a promotion, but definitely you can get a lot of recognition, especially if you are in the writing or in the communication field, or if you're like selling or do marketing. That can be like a pretty wild time for you guys. So let me know what happens. Also know that if you're going to talk to your boss right now, that your voice is going to carry a lot of weight. In the last 3 weeks, you've really proved your value and like your, how do I say, you really proved how smart you are at work as well. Maybe that is a big theme with the Mercury retrograde that just happened, and it's making a very big, beautiful water trine towards like the 7th and the 11th. So if you are in communication, or if you're in the media, or if you're writing or podcasting or blogging, there can be very beneficial news that comes forward from this full moon. And maybe you're gonna have a new business alliance, maybe something in regards to social media. With the 11th, the 7th, and the 3rd connected, and a full moon at the 10th. That is like, you're being put in a position of power. That is also like in a leadership position in the 10th. And everyone is going to notice how much you've grown in the past 6 months. Mercury in Scorpio definitely makes your words very precise and very strategic and very impactful, which is very, very beneficial for breakthroughs in your career. So yeah, I think that was it. I wish you good luck, my dear Virgo. We have Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're going to have a full moon in Gemini on December the 4th, and it's going to happen in your 9th house. So the 9th is all about your belief system. It's about broadening your horizons, mentally, spiritually. Religion is also found in the 9th. It's about like traveling, higher education. Publishing, if you're in some kind of a court case, can also be about legal matters coming to a head, but definitely a big shift in your belief system and some kind of peak or combination in your overall worldview and something shifting in that. Some of you are returning from a trip, some of you are going on a trip. Just be mindful that traveling through the month of December can still cause a little bit of hiccups with the Mercury retrograde and the post-shadow zone, and then all the planets in Sag making a square to Pisces planets. You might need to make more effort while traveling, so keep that in mind. But definitely, some of you can also complete some kind of a degree or a course, or make some kind of publication or announcement, or yeah, some kind of shift in your personal philosophy that is accompanied by this as well. It's in fellow air, so it's making a trine towards all your Libra placements, which is very, very positive, which is very supportive and energizing for you, my dear Libra. So make good use of the flowing energy. And the ruler of this full moon is, of course, Mercury, and Mercury is in your 2nd house. So even when you go traveling, you can even get like new ideas of how to make money. Maybe you get inspired during a trip. Maybe you're taking a course in which you can like make a new stream of income off of that. The 2nd is, of course, about money, values, and your self-worth. So yeah, whatever it is, a trip, a course, or a big shift in your personal philosophy. It's going to be connected to how you value yourself in the second house. And also like it's going to show you, yeah, maybe some of you are going to value themselves and their skills more by making some kind of a trip or diving into some kind of higher knowledge or some study. And also, yeah, this can like mean some kind of a peak that is getting reached in like a moment where like a long-standing belief finally like dissolves or shifts, or like, yeah, which is actually very important. And maybe some beliefs you had over yourself and over your own value, if you can like break through that right now, that could mean a very big increase in money over the next few weeks. So yeah, it's also about, yeah, this moon is activating your house of publicity and visibility as well. If you've been working on a big project since May during the new moon and you release something right now, that can have like a very big effect and can gain a lot of traction and can also be made money off of that as well. Can be about a blog or a certification or some kind of things like that. So yeah, you are gonna get approved by whatever you publish right now. So just know that like in the ninth, if you publish something, it's gonna gain more traction. So if you want to go viral, it's also a very good time to tap into that energy. But definitely something in your beliefs is gonna shift, in which you can maybe appreciate your own skills more, and by that can increase your resources. That is like in a nutshell. So good luck, my dear Libra. We have Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're going to have a full moon in Gemini that is going to illuminate your 8th house on December the 4th. So the 8th house is a traditional Scorpio house. So you're very familiar with this kind of energy. Of course, it's in the sign of Gemini, but the 8th is, of course, about shared resources, very financial full moon, taxes. Maybe you get a tax refund. Maybe you get a breakthrough with your psychology and your therapist, because it's very psychological, the 8th house, and can also be about inheritances or some kind of very deep emotional release that's been wanting to happen for the past 6 months. But because Gemini is on that cusp, the big breakthroughs that you're going to see, or the big releases, are definitely going to be connected to some kind of conversation you have, a message you receive, or some kind of truth or revelation that is being made even by you, because Mercury, the ruler of this full moon, is actually in your sign. So for you, that is very, very important. Maybe you are going to spill some secrets. Maybe a partner, maybe you need to tell something to your partner in regards to shared finances. Or maybe you need to tell your partner like, hey, my taxes just like went way up, and then like something shifted in that, and then maybe we need to talk about our shared resources, and maybe I need your help, or maybe you need to help, or maybe I need to help you. Definitely some volatile energy with Uranus in the 7th, and can definitely also be a surprising message from your partner in regards to finances as well. But yeah, you're pretty used to the Scorpionic energy, and with the ruler of this full moon in your sign, you're going to get a massive activation for you, my dear Scorpio. Mercury in the 1st is about your identity and your presence, your voice, your truth, how you show up in the world. I know a lot of you guys suffered from the Mercury retrograde with a lot of distress, rescheduling, delays, fears popping back up again, maybe some stress that comes up in regards to your 2nd house of finances, because Mercury started its retrograde in your money house. Now, within a few days, which day was it? I think the 10th of December, it's gonna re-ingress into your 2nd house. So then the Mercury retrograde is going to be fully wrapped up for you, my dear Scorpio. But definitely Maybe some of you had like an unexpected big bill, and that could have like surprised you and your partner, or maybe you felt blocked from moving forward in the past few weeks. That is all quite normal with the Mercury retrograde that happened in your sign. Definitely you are already very, very good at like seducing and being sensual and seductive. But now with Mercury in your sign, your voice and your presence is extra magnetic and extra persuasive. It's going to conjunct Black Moon Lilith. Don't get out the Scorpio stinger. Use it to, do not use it to manipulate, but definitely just speak your truth, speak your worth. And all the things that you have been wanting to say for the past 3 weeks with the Mercury retrograde, but maybe you felt delayed by speaking them out loud whenever Mercury is going to conjunct Black Moon Lilith, all the things that you've been repressing, even all your own repressed identity and the taboo things that linger inside of yourself that you actually want to hide from other people can be spoken about whenever Mercury conjuncts Black Moon Lilith, because it's going to happen at 28 degrees. And that has a very strong connection to the new moon in Scorpio that we just had, because that was on the 28th degree. So take good notice of how, or like whatever is being said now, how that's going to be connected to whatever happened during the new moon in your sign a while ago. So yeah, with Mars in the second, there can also be money loss or like a very big bill that comes in. But because the full moon is like a point of release and culmination, there can also be like debt being paid off. There can also be some kind of settlement or inheritance thing that gets wrapped up. There can also be like a breakthrough around fears and intimacy and trust issues as well. So yeah, good luck, my dear Scorpio. We have Sagittarius and moon or rising. You are gonna have a full moon in Gemini that is gonna oppose your sign. So very important. It happens in the 7th house, which rules over your marriage, your partners, your collaborations, your business partnerships, your clients, also about contracts. Can even be about like spoken contracts and also the people that you meet with on a one-on-one basis. So it's a huge spotlight on your connections with others, and if you've started a new relationship or if you've implemented something new within your partnership during May of 2025, something in regards to that can now reach a culmination. So yeah, the truths can be revealed within your partnerships, because Mercury is a ruler of this full moon, and it's in the 12th. The 12th is about hidden stuff. Scorpio is about secrets. So I think definitely either your partner is going to spill the tea, or either you are going to talk to your partner about maybe some self-sabotaging behavior of yourself that is like undermining the relationship. Maybe some conversations from the past get into your current relationship, and something needs to be talked about in order that it doesn't create any mishaps. Also, yeah, with Mercury in the 12th, there's like a very big hidden layer to this story. The 12th is about your subconscious territory, your dreams, your intuition. The fact that it's in Scorpio can also be your fears popping up inside of your dreams right now. If you have a little bit more nightmares, maybe about your partner or about your marriage going wrong, or maybe about not finding the perfect partner, just know that it's like Mercury digging up all of the subconscious territory in regards to your relationships right now. You can also be very, very psychically in tune with your partner right now, because, yeah, it's like you pick up the psychic signals and your partner, yeah, maybe you're noticing things that you've been ignoring, and now it's like no longer able to like hide that. And maybe something needs to be brought in the open. And also, yeah, maybe you're gonna discover what your partner has been hiding. I'm not saying they are doing that intentionally, but maybe it's about a worry that they've been hiding, maybe about the vulnerability. Jupiter is in the 8th, which is your ruler. Money comes in but can fly out as fast as well. Maybe something about that needs to be talked about, but definitely it's going to be good news. And if you talk about it, you can really work through it, because there's a grand water trine and Mercury is in trine to Jupiter. So that's actually very, very profound. This can also indicate profound mystical experiences with a partner. If you make love with them right now, with Jupiter in the 8th, with the trine to Mercury in the 12th, it can also even help them even heal on a deeper level, in which you can have more closeness with one another as well. So whatever breaks open, that is like helping you to like reconnect on an even deeper level. So yeah, it's about you and the other. And by the end of the month, on December the 20th, we're going to have a new moon in the sign of Sag. And that will be at the end degrees, at 28 degrees. That is going to be very, very spectacular, because it will be conjunct Venus. And then, like with Venus in your sign right now, your magnetism is increased. You attract more possible suitors. If you are single and you meet someone right now, like go for it. Like this is like very strong astrology to really meet the right person and to really connect with them on a very psychic and intuitive kind of way, with the 12th and the 8th house connected as well, and it's your chart ruler. So that's pretty positive. All of this energy in the sign of Sag, you are very, very motivated. You are feeling more adventurous. You want more freedom. Maybe you want to go traveling. Yeah, definitely a time to break free. And within a couple of days, Mercury will join the party. Also Mercury will also enter Sagittarius, and then you can like make travel plans with your partner, or talk about your shared visions and your higher wisdom together, and that can actually be a very, very big merging of soul bonds as well. So take good use of that energy, and good luck, my dear Sagittarius. We have Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're going to have a full moon in Gemini that is going to light up your 6th house. So, my dear Capricorn, luckily you like to work, because the 6th house is the house of work. It is also about your health, your routines, daily workload, co-workers, pets, and also the way how you manage stress, and also how work, the effect that work has on your stress. So it's about the daily rhythm, the things that you must do on a daily basis, your habits that you fall into. With Mars in the 12th, there can definitely be some self-sabotaging behavior or some stress in your sleeping cycles. Maybe your sleeping cycle is getting massively disturbed with Mars in the 12th, and that is having a strain or some kind of effect on your daily rhythm, and how good or how able you're like how good you're able to like channel this energy right now. So if you feel a little bit tired, take extra time for rest. Don't get overstressed. Be careful about overworking as well. The 6th is like the systems in your life that you like keep running, so that life goes smoothly and something reaches some kind of peak or culmination in that. If you've changed something in regards to your job during May of 2025, now a project or a workload or a deadline or something is like reaching a culmination or some kind of peak. If you've been dealing with a health issue, or if your schedule has been a little bit out of control, the full moon really asks you right now to release something in that. Maybe you need to release a job. Maybe you need to redirect your workload. Maybe you need to ask your coworkers to help you a little bit because you're like too tired. That is like definitely possible right now. But on the positive side, because the ruler is making beautiful grand water trine, there can also be like breakthroughs in health. Maybe you get news and a new diagnosis that helps you move forward and lets you the big release in health problems that can also signify this. And that also results in like major changes in your routine. So the ruler of this full moon is of course Mercury, and it's actually now that moving back direct in your 11th house. So the past 3 weeks you had a Mercury retrograde in the 11th. It's about your community, your collaborations, your friends, and your long-term goals that shifted, or maybe someone or something from the past has returned in regards to that area of your chart. But definitely a very, very significant Mercury retrograde for you guys, for like bumping into old friendships and like relighting the spark in that. Maybe even some friends from the past have been telling you a secret, and if they haven't done already, then Mercury is about to conjunct Black Moon Lilith. A lot of things that your friends have been repressing, or a lot of things that have been repressed in your friend circle, can really come to the forefront, and then it's gonna be big talks about that. The 11th is about networking and maybe asking for help. So that's why I said that maybe you need to ask your coworkers for help, because Mercury also rules the sixth, which is about co-workers, and of course that can also result in neighbors. Maybe you need to ask a neighbor or a sibling, a brother or sister, or some kind of co-worker for help, and you're definitely going to get that, but you need to be able to ask it, because I know Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, they are so structured and so hardworking, and they're so used to doing everything on their own that it can be quite difficult to ask help for you guys. You are a very earthed sign, and you're most of the time very, very stable. But whenever Mars travels through the 12th, things can go a little bit haywire in your structure, and also in regards to your mental health. So be a little bit easy on yourself, and catch up on some sleep. Venus is now in the 12th as well. That's going to like smooth things a little bit over, but still, as long as Mars is in the 12th, that is not a good time. Like, I do not want to manifest it for you guys, but when Mars is in the 12th, you can like end up in the hospital. I just hope whenever you end up in the hospital with Uranus back into the 5th, it's maybe because you have an unplanned pregnancy, or maybe you have given birth to a baby, or maybe some big change happens in regards to children. That can happen, and I hope that is going to be like the manifestation of this energy. But definitely let me know what's going on for you with that Mars in the 12th. I know a lot of people who like are having to go to the hospital for some kind of reason. Just I hope that it is for a beautiful celebration, and not for some kind of health problem with the full moon in the 6th of health. So for others, if your health is fine and you do not notice anything, it can also be about quitting a toxic job situation, and by that changing your schedule. Some of you might get a little bit of a health scare, but it's going to help you to take your health seriously, because I feel a lot of Capricorns take their work very, very seriously, but they sometimes forget that overworking and having too much ambition can definitely leave a strain on your immune system. So you can even ask help from friends or neighbors or siblings to get to the right diagnosis, or the right treatment, or the right doctor, or maybe they can give some kind of unexpected health advice, because it's going to make an opposition with Uranus, and that information can come out of the blue. They can actually help you with some kind of diagnosis or a resource that helps you to shift your perspective on your health, and also in regards to your job. So it works both ways. Just know the 12th and the 6th house axis, you really need to rebalance the mind-body connection. It's like about your spiritual body and the physical body that you really need to take extra care for right now. So yeah, break all the unhealthy patterns, and a big time to release self-sabotaging behavior, and build a new, healthier routine. So good luck, my dear Capricorn. We have Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're going to have a full moon in Gemini happening in your 5th house. So this is very positive. It is the most positive full moon of the entire year for you, my dear Aquarius, because the 5th house is the house of fun. It's about flirting, dating, attraction. It's also about fertility, joy, children, hobbies, pleasure, creativity. So yeah, you can feel very inspired to just go and have some fun. It trines your Aquarius placement, so very, very positive, especially if you have planets or angles around 13 degrees of Aquarius. You're gonna be very, very you're going to be this full moon is going to help you very, very much. So think back to May of 2025. Something is now getting some kind of completion. Maybe a project that you were passionate about, maybe something shifts in regards to a relationship. Maybe you've bumped into some kind of situationship in May, and now you decide like, I'm releasing this because it's not giving me as much fun anymore, and I want more fun with someone else. That is possible. But also, yeah, if you've been trying to get pregnant, now you can get the news and receive news that you are pregnant, because Mercury is in the 10th house, which is about your status and something shifting in that. It's also about parenthood. So yeah, if you guys are trying to get pregnant, that can be like very, very good news that you receive right now. It's about completion, celebration, and it's also about being unapologetically yourself with the moon in the 5th house. So Mercury in the 10th is, of course, about particularly your career, your reputation, your public recognition of as well. So, yeah, whatever's happening in the 5th with your children, with your love life, that is like going to be a very big storyline, and it's going to be connected. Everything that happens in the 5th is going to become like publicly known, or it's going to be like spoken about, because it can become quite visible with the ruler in the 10th in the house of visibility. So yeah, you might notice that people are trying to maybe peek a little bit into your life, or maybe they are very curious and asking you questions about what you're passionate about and what you're doing right now, and who you're with, and who you're having a situationship with, or something like that. People can be a little bit nosy and like trying to get like the details out of you, but just be sure and be mindful about what you tell other people, because they're gonna talk to they're gonna talk about it to other people. Mercury in the 10th, it's gonna be a lot of blah blah blah, and people can be spilling your secrets, and that can actually be a little bit hurtful whenever Mercury conjuncts Black Moon Lilith. So really take that into account. Aquarius is also an air sign. It's also very talkative and is also shining bright, and is full of ideas and wanting to share that with the world, and like just be mindful of like who you're talking towards, and who you're trusting your secrets with. Also know that Mercury in the 10th on the more positive side also means that like your voice and all your airy ideas and your expertise and your leadership role can really get recognized right now. If you fully express yourself unapologetically, that can lead towards new business contracts, or towards some kind of new contract in regards to your career with Mercury in the 10th. Mercury is also trining Saturn in your 2nd. So Saturn in the 2nd is about laying a new foundation that you've been doing for the past 3 years in regards to your income and your money and your finances. And Mercury trining that is actually, there can be very positive news coming forth from work. Jupiter in the 6th house of work on a daily basis. Mercury in the 10th house of career, trining Saturn in the 2nd. If you guys have some kind of opportunity that falls onto your lap in regards to shifting career, or making an extra stream of income, or maybe you get some kind of news from a boss that your workload gets increased, maybe you get a promotion, maybe you're going to earn more money, that is a very big possibility here with all these trines from the 2nd to the 6th to the 10th. So yeah, maybe some of you want to have a lot of fun with the full moon in the 10th, but maybe some of you are gonna want to implement more fun in your career, and how that like how you're further you're gonna let it decide how that moves your career in like a new way. But definitely be mindful of new contracts that can really bring in a lot more work and a lot more money that is accompanied by that. But other than that, really tap into your creativity. The full moon in the 5th is really about letting the creative juices flow. So good luck, my dear Aquarius. We have Pisces, sun, moon, or rising. You are going to have a full moon happening in the sign of Gemini on December the 4th, and it's happening in your 4th house. So the 4th is, of course, about your home and your family and your roots. It's also about your emotional security. And the bottom of the chart is a very, very sensitive point. It's very emotionally layered and very, very deep. So full moons here, it's always like there's like an imminent culmination that is like peaking right now. And if you've like changed something 6 months ago with the new moon in the 4th, maybe you've been wanting to move, renovate, relocate, that can now definitely happen with the full moon in the 4th. So changes in your living situation and also emotional releases that are gonna happen that I have been building for months right now in regards to family, or something happens in the family or with your mother, or like maybe some disputes with the father figure with Mars in the 10th, or maybe your boss, or maybe with Mars in the 10th you get like you want to put all of your energy in your career, and maybe you're gonna need to move because of your career. Definitely with Venus now joining the party in the 10th, there can be like an increase in recognition from your boss. Maybe you get a promotion, maybe the promotion leads you to relocate somewhere else. That is also a very big possibility, but definitely think back what happened or began around late May. Some kind of family pattern or situation in regards to where you live or renovation, something is reaching its peak here right now. And Mercury is the ruler of this full moon, and it's actually traveling through your 9th house for quite some time now with the Mercury retrograde. So it's finally direct now, and the 9th is about wisdom, philosophy, religion, teachers, publishers, spirituality, and also your belief system about your world view as well. So yeah, changes can happen in your home, and whatever changes in your home and what that triggers in your emotional foundation, that can like totally trigger new truths and new perspectives, and in which you change your whole belief system about your home, or who you live with, or where you live, the place that you live right now as well. And some of you are going to move abroad here, or you get news that you're possible, you can receive news from some kind of guide who's helping you that it's like a good time to move abroad. Someone can help you in regards to that. You can receive good news, maybe from a real estate agent or something like that, that you can finally sign the contract or the lease for a new home, and it can definitely be connected to foreign travel or long distance travel, or like not in your own neighborhood, with the ruler of this full moon in the 9th. So because Mercury is in Scorpio, it also like pushes you to go deeper into your belief systems, in your subconscious patterns, also in your spiritual philosophy. So think about like all the belief systems that you've inherited from your family, especially your mother, and how that affects your life and how you go out and run about out in the world. So yeah, maybe you're ready to let go of a lot of family patterns. Maybe you're just like ready to say like, okay, I'm gonna leave home and I'm gonna move abroad, and I'm gonna like restructure my belief system, and I'm gonna believe that I can do it by myself. Like the last few years, if I had Saturn through your sign, and now station direct, you guys definitely felt that there's a heavy lift on your, there's a heavy weight on your shoulders that is gonna start to begin to lift. And Saturn is going to soon move into the 2nd house. Then it's going to affect your resources. But right now, a full moon in the 4th is definitely indicating some kind of big release at home or within your family. And also with Mercury and Scorpio ruling this full moon, there can also be a lot of family secrets that are getting like spilled. Or maybe you are back at home and you look in your maybe the house that you grew up in, and maybe you bump into an old document that is with Mercury, that releases some kind of surprising information, maybe about your parents or your grandparents or even before that. And that can also cause a little bit of emotional energy, or simply your mother can tell you something that can trigger some old emotions that you need to work through. So definitely there can be a big change in your space, and a very big change in your life, and maybe you can also simply just like rearrange your living room. And with the full moon in the fourth, my advice is always to like clean up all the clutter, like declutter your home and really make the space more airy, more room. Like you have an air sign on the fourth house, you need to have a lot of space and flexibility, and maybe you Pisces really like to move things around and like renew things and like be adaptable in your home, and that can also be very helpful during this time. So that was it for today. Thank you guys all so much for joining. Yeah, full moon in Gemini. Be careful about your words. Do not gossip. Release your truth, but be sure that it's based on facts and not just like your convictions. Do not go preaching. Do not go tell other people what they need to do, because that is gonna cause some backlash with Mars square Saturn as well. Take good care of your health. If you feel like you're hitting an invisible wall, just know that we need to wait until the Mars square Saturn is over, and that is always some kind of like hiccup and a temporary shit show, especially if you are ruled by Mars like Aries, or if you're ruled by Saturn like Capricorn or the traditional ruler Aquarius, then you can definitely feel like you're hitting some kind of roadblock. Other than that, have a good time, communicate, connect with people, and yeah, let the airy ideas just like come out of your mind, and communicate about them with your fellow peers. So I wish you all a happy full moon, and I will see you soon back for another video. Thank you. Bye bye.